Well, I sometimes worry that we misremember the speech, or at least forget some of the most important context surrounding the speech, even just by calling it the I Have a Dream speech. I mean, it's obvious why we call it that, the biblical references, the eloquence of those concluding remarks, but we could call it the fierce urgency of now speech, or the promissory note speech. That is where King talks about the Declaration of Independence being a promissory note that Black Americans have tried to cash but been denied their access to equality, that the check was returned stamped insufficient funds. Brilliant imagery there, I think equally memorable. Or the famous line about the fierce urgency of now and why gradualism is no longer acceptable. So I think we lose the urgency of that moment and the radicalism of King's message. The I Have a Dream paragraph, with its wonderful evocation of, the dream world where his children could walk hand in hand and be judged by the content of their characters, that was something that almost everybody today can get behind. It is no longer controversial. And yet, we forget how controversial it was at the time and how challenging that speech really was, challenging to all Americans, black and white. Integration, it was truly a radical idea. And in many ways, it remains an unfulfilled ambition. We tend to think of integration as somehow the moderate position, and of King as a moderate compared with more militant activists like Stokely Carmichael or Malcolm X, especially those who stressed black separatism, black nationalism. But in some ways, integration is really a more radical objective. It requires people to change the way they think and act and live, much more dramatically even than separatism did. And I think it would be useful to us to sort of remember the ambition behind that speech.